10% of lung cancer, so it's relevant to a cancer with significant unmet medical disease. And as many of you know, BRT and BRM are components, and again, homologs of the chromatin remodeling complex known as the Swiss-Smith complex. So that was very exciting to us because of the notion that if you're impaired or mutant for BRG, you might now be dependent on BRM for the residual function of the Swiss-Smith complex, and that residual dependence would only be seen in cell lines that were BRG mutant versus wild-type cells. So that you can imagine potentially a broad therapeutic index where wild-type cells have both BRG and BRM. If you could make a selective BRM inhibitor, you'd have potentially quite specific effects in BRG no cancer cells. So we've gone on to look at whether or not you can recapitulate this by sort of more traditional single shRNA genes. Here's two different dox-inducible shRNAs against BRM, depleting BRM in BRG deficient cells, and that leads to dramatic reduction in colony formation, shown here as compared to BRG positive cells. And if you now look at whether you can induce the synthetic lethal phenotype by first depleting with BRM and BRG, if we deplete just with BRM, there's no effect. This is a cell line that has intact BRM and BRG. If we deplete for BRG alone, we have no effect, but now if you deplete both, you can kill this wild-type cell. So it's suggesting that these two are functionally redundant in the context of a wild-type cell, and that you need to deplete at least one of these first to get a synthetic lethal relationship here. And just to finish the story, it appears that the cellular effect of depleting BRM in the BRG mutant cells, the induction of senescence is shown here by staining with senescence-associated beta-gal or with H3K9 trimethylamide shown here under conditions of depletion by shRNA. And this is another in vivo combination of that. So those are some examples of the work that we're doing in the cancer cell lines cyclopedia in phase 2, both functionally characterizing the cell lines as well as annotating them for now proteomic modifications, at least with respect to histone modifications. I'll just finish by talking about a second effort we have to go beyond just using cancer cell lines as models. So I think many people realize cell lines have limitations. They're growing in classic fish. There's no stroma, there's no blood vessels. So clearly we would like to not only rely on cell lines for model systems in which to study cancer and try to make predictions about what might happen in humans. So in parallel to the cell line cyclopedia project, within Novartis, we've been establishing collections of primary derived xenograft models over the last 6 to 7 years, and in aggregate now have established 900 models that have limited serial passage. These models are generally around passage 4. They can be frozen as fragments, rethawed, grown out, and fused in drug sensitivity studies in mice. We have not fully completed the genomic characterization of the models, but we're in the process of doing exome sequencing, RNA-seq, and copy number alterations. Our group in Shanghai is also working with us on this, so for that reason we have a considerable number now of Chinese and Asian-derived cancers, including 193 stomach cancers and 88 esophageal cancers and 63 liver cancers of Asian origin, and we're now using both those sets both in China and the U.S. to profile compounds. So the first question is, does this, again, have any bearing on human cancer? We're just starting to get data back on that because, as I mentioned, we're in the midst of all the profiling. Melanoma is one, I think, where you'd expect even from cell lines to have a fairly good recapitulation of genetic alterations. Here's an example of the common alterations in that kinase pathway, PI3 cell cycle, Swiss-Smith. Here are the individual genes, and I think in general you can see between TCGA, ICGC data, and the collection of melanoma primaries a fairly good correlation. I don't want to claim that this is perfect, but you can approximate a significant swath of human melanoma. Of course, for other cancers, it's not like this. Breast cancer, as many people know, you have trouble getting ER-positive breast cancer to grow in mice, and you still have a paucity of those tumors. But at least now you know where you have representation and where you don't. So the real question is, you can't grow mice like this in a robotic system, so how do you use 900 tumors in mice as a profiling system? And so over the last year, we've embarked on a set of clinical and preclinical trials we call innovation trials or CTX trials, with the notion that we might be able to look at a larger array of tumors growing in mice, but fewer representations of each tumor. And in this case, we call this a 1 by 1 by 1 model, one tumor in one mouse against one dose of a single drug. So we're not going to do 10 tumors per each drug. We're not going to get error bars for each tumor. Instead, we're going to use the diversity of cancers as you would a clinical trial to look at the response rate of a given drug across 50 single tumors in melanoma. In this trial, we look at several different parameters. Of course, progression, which would be no effect, complete response, which is disappearance of the tumor. And then, of course, you can have either a stable disease followed by progression, or you can have partial response or even complete response followed by progression. And in these two indications, you have the opportunity to collect resistant tumors and save them. So for the trial, we now have 200 tumors that are resistant to various drugs that we've put through this clinical trial. So in the first year, we've done 18 different drugs, 4 combinations across melanoma, breast, lung, colorectal, and pancreas. And some of those trials are still in progress with the data. Some of the data I'll show you are not complete. So the first question is, if you're just doing one tumor at a time, how variable is this? And I actually thought it would be really variable. So this is one experiment that begins to answer the degree of variability from tumor to tumor versus drug to drug. In this case, we had 2 different inhibitors of HDM2 that are shown here. The waterfall plot of all the different tumors, pancreas, lung, melanoma, is shown here, and the concordance of each individual tumor responding to 2 different drugs, these are 2 different drugs with different structural class, is shown here. So you can see the concordance in response is actually quite high. So even using just single tumors in this system, they seem to be fairly robust with respect to reproducibility across 2 different drugs of the same mechanism. So the question is, as a result of any drug, have any bearing on what happens clinically? And honestly, there aren't that many drugs for which we have both robust preclinical data and robust clinical data. So we included a number in this trial. So the first one is the original standard of care of melanoma, which was dacarbazine, also known as CCIC. Dacarbazine has about a 10 to 13% response rate in patients. In the xenograft trial, the response rate was 13%. In humans, the response rate to DCIC is lower in BRAF mutant patients. And you can see in the xenopatient trial in yellow are BRAF tumors. In fact, the response rate to dacarbazine is also lower in BRAF mutant genotype in the xenograft trial. In the clinic, we know that RAF inhibitors, emirapatide first and now our inhibitor LGS818, have a robust response rate in the order of 60 to 70%. In BRAF mutant tumors, it's a little hard to see here because I'm not showing you only the BRAF, but essentially we get around a 60 to 65% response rate in BRAF mutant tumors in the xenopatient trials. And then we've recently shown activity of a mechanism MEK162 in NRAS mutant tumors. Of course, they also have big response rates in BRAF, and we get a distinct pattern of response for MEK162 here. So at least preliminarily in the melanoma trials, I think it actually looks fairly promising that the activity that you see, even measured by response rate, looks quite comparable to what you might see in human trials. We're also, of course, collecting survival data on the mice. I don't want to pretend survival in a mouse is going to be in any way linked to survival in a human, but the odds ratio of effect on survival in terms of magnitude may be quite similar. You can see here the comparison between LGS818 at the time where we only had 15 xenopatients treated versus dacarbazine and the emirapatide trial that was published by Paul Chapman. So, as I mentioned, we've also been studying various combinations, and some of the combination effects that have emerged now here that are quite remarkable, and also further combination trials that are already going in the clinic include combinations of BRAF and MEK inhibitors with a much more dramatic effect now in BRAF mutant tumors. Combinations of BRAF and CDK4 inhibitors which get a much more significant response rate compared to the CDK4 single agent, and then the BRAF plus PI3 inhibitor. All three of these are actually quite positive in terms of increased activity in the xenopatient trials. So two of these are now, these two trials are now ongoing in patients, and we'll see over the next year or so how well this correlates to the results in human clinical trials. So I'm just going to wrap up shortly, but I wanted to comment, because often I get a lot of questions, why didn't you use this model system, why are you using this model system? And my comment now to those general questions is, no model system is perfect, and no model system is totally imperfect. So you may be a fan of GEMS, you may be a fan of xenopatients, you may be a fan of cell lines. They all have their relative strengths and weaknesses, which is why we want to use all of those tools to the best purposes we can, taking advantages of what each of those model systems brings as a strength, things like throughput in vivo setting, for example. I'm not going to talk about it, but I'll just close by saying, so I showed you data from the Cancer Cell Line Encyclopedia, the PTX models. The issues that these have is, of course, even the PTX models are being grown in immunodeficient mice. There's human implanted into mice. There's differences in how the mouse stroma will or won't support a human tumor. We know prostate will basically grow in a mouse. As I mentioned earlier, ER-positive breast cancer very hard to grow in a mouse. So there's two different approaches to addressing the problem. One is to make mice more like humans, which could take a lot of effort, making a mouse like a human stroma mouse. The other would be to use mouse cancers and understand which of those cancers are genotypically identical or similar to human cancer. And that's the approach we're taking. We're taking genetically unstable mouse strains of DNA repair, either XS63 mutant mice or other mice that have DNA repair that get at diversity of cancers, implanting those into syngeneic mice, and the plan is to, of course, sequence those now and find out which of those tumors are similar or not. So human tumors, then we hope to have a syngeneic system of mouse tumors that are genetically characterized and similar to human tumors, and that would be the third arm of this translational system. So I just want to close by thanking patients who participate in the clinical trials we conduct. I had not very much time to thank a lot of people who worked on all the projects that I mentioned, and I'd also like to thank our service collaborators. In this case, the Broad was a huge collaborator in the Cancer Cell Line Encyclopedia, led by Levi Garraway and his colleagues. Thanks very much. Welcome to the 2009 Cell Signaling Technology Interest Training Tutorial for the study of stem cells. This tutorial contains 3 sessions. Section 1 provides an overview of embryonic stem cells and DFC markers. This section also includes information regarding induced pluripotent stem cells, also referred to as iPS cells, and CST-induced stem-like pluripotency. Section 2 covers information concerning stem cell differentiation along specific lineage pathways and corresponding lineage-specific markers. And finally, Section 3 covers epigenetic regulators and marks commonly found during embryonic development. What is an embryonic stem cell? Embryonic stem cells, also called ESCs or ES cells, are cells derived from the inner cell mass of a blastocyst. Looking at the figure on the right, a blastocyst is a structure formed early in embryogenesis, after fertilization, but before implantation into the uterine wall. A blastocyst contains approximately 70 to 100 cells and consists of an inner cell mass, also called the ICM, inside a cavity surrounded by layered cells called the trophoblast. Cells of the trophoblast later develop into the placenta and regulate implantation of the embryo. Cells of the inner cell mass are called embryonic stem cells and later develop into the new organism. Embryonic stem cells have 2 unique features. First, they are pluripotent. This means these cells can differentiate into all 3 primary germ layers, namely the ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. Additional information regarding these germ layers will be presented in later slides. Secondly, embryonic stem cells have the ability to self-renew, which means they can replicate indefinitely in an undifferentiated state. Why are embryonic stem cells important? Embryonic stem cells are important for regenerative medicine. ESC pluripotency means that these cells can grow into any cell type in the body. Scientists study ESC pluripotency and differentiation with the hope to create new healthy cells and/or organs in diseased patients. For example, new neurons could be created for patients with spinal cord injury, or blood cells for patients with leukemia. Embryonic stem cells are also important for basic science research. ESCs are studied in basic research to increase our understanding of early-stage human development. The study of ESC differentiation along specific lineage pathways may increase our understanding of disease states and progression. Pluripotency at the molecular level. At the molecular level, the predominant signaling pathways involved in human ESC pluripotency and self-renewal are TGF-beta, which signals to SNAP2 and to FGFR, which activates the MAPK and ATP pathways. The release pathway also promotes pluripotency through activation of beta-catenin. Signaling through these pathways results in the expression and activation of 3 key transcription factors, OX4, SOX2, and NANOG. These transcription factors activate gene expression of ESC-specific genes, regulate their own expression, and also serve as HESC markers. Other markers used to identify human ESCs are SSEA3 and 4, TRA160, and TRA181. Pluripotency and self-renewal are inhibited by the BMP4 pathway, which uses SNAP1, 5, and 8 to block transcription factor expression. The pathway shown is for human cells. Pluripotency in mice involves slightly different upstream signaling, primarily the LIF, leukemia inhibitory factor, and STAT3 pathway, but results in expression of the same key transcription factors. Confocal immunofluorescent analysis showing expression and nuclear localization of the transcription factors OX4, SOX2, and NANOG in Entera2 cells. OX4, SOX2, and NANOG antibodies have been labeled green. Actin filaments have been labeled red with DY554 colloidin. Entera2 is a human embryonic carcinoma cell line that expresses the same markers as ESCs. Note the presence of green signal in these cells. HeLa cells carry non-pluripotent epithelial cell line used as a negative control and do not express these stem cell markers. Embryonic stem cell markers. Other markers commonly used to identify ESCs are TRA160, TRA181, and SSEA4, which are surface markers found on embryonic stem cells and germ cells. They are surface markers only and do not directly add to stemness or promote pluripotency. TRA160 and TRA181 are glycoproteins, and SSEA4 is a glycolipid. These antibodies recognize the carbohydrate group, not the proteins themselves per se. The functional role of TRA160, TRA181, and SSEA4 in stem cell biology is not clear. Confocal immunofluorescent analysis showing expression of TRA160, TRA181, and SSEA4 in Entera2 cells. Antibodies for TRA160, TRA181, and SSEA4 have been labeled green. Actin filaments have been labeled red with DY554 colloidin. DNA has been labeled blue using the fluorescent dye DRAC5. Induced pluripotency, iPS cells. Induced pluripotent stem cells, iPS cells, or iPSCs, are a type of pluripotent stem cell derived from a non-pluripotent somatic cell by overexpression of a set of proteins. iPS cells have been shown to share many properties with ES cells, including epigenetic marks and the expression of stem cell genes. 2 pivotal studies have shown that various combinations of key transcription factors have been used to obtain the induced pluripotent state in human somatic cells. In the first study, retroviral expression of OX4, SOX2, c-Myc, and KLF4 in adult mouse fibroblasts caused the reprogramming of these cells into ES-like pluripotent cells. In the second study, a combination of OX4, SOX2, NANOG, and LIN28 caused the reprogramming of human somatic cells into iPS cells. Since then, a multitude of studies have repeated these findings in various cell types. Other studies have focused on the necessity of individual transcription factors in somatic cell reprogramming. For instance, the activity of c-Myc and KLF4 can be replaced by the cystine deacetylase inhibitor valproic. These studies have shown that OX4 is the most important component for the creation of iPS cells because it is the only factor that cannot be replaced. The transcription factors responsible for somatic cell reprogramming function by promoting the expression of genes necessary for pluripotency and inhibiting lineage-specific genes. Because many of these genes control their own expression through autoregulatory mechanisms, the overexpressed proteins combine the promoters of their endogenous counterparts, jump-starting and maintaining their own expression. There are many functional uses of iPS cells. First, iPS cells are very useful for drug screening applications. Researchers can screen compounds on more normal human cells and can better assess on-target and off-target drug effects at an early point of screening. In addition, compounds can be screened for their ability to drive or halt particular differentiation pathways, thus providing information on points of pharmaceutical intervention in particular disease states. iPS cells also provide the ability to generate cell model systems from patients with genetic diseases and allow scientists to follow disease progression as the iPS cells differentiate. A second use for iPS cells is that they eliminate ethical issues surrounding the use of embryonic stem cells. human embryos would not be needed, and as a consequence destroyed, in order to obtain an original source of stem cells. And lastly, iPS cells can be used in personalized stem cell therapy. In the future, somatic cells would be taken from a patient and induced to become iPS cells. The iPS cells would be differentiated to create a cell type needed by that specific patient. For example, hepatocytes for a patient with liver failure. With this technology, there would be no need to worry about organ rejection or an immune response because the stem cells originated from that specific patient and have the same immune profile. The new stem-like pluripotency kit. The new stem-like pluripotency kit contains antibodies against a selection of stem cell markers. This kit can be used to analyze the pluripotent status of human embryonic stem cells or iPS cells. Loss of marker expression indicates loss of pluripotency or differentiation of the culture. Retinoic acid treatment, 10 micromolar for 14 days, causes the differentiation of the embryonic carcinoma cell line and TERA2 along the neuronal lineage. OX4A and SOX2 antibodies have been labeled green. Actin filaments have been labeled red with D554 phalloidin. No loss of pluripotency markers green in the differentiated state. TRA160 and TRA181 antibodies have been labeled green. Actin filaments have been labeled red with D554 phalloidin. Blue pseudocolor is DRAC5. No loss of pluripotency markers green in the differentiated state. In the plus RA channels, RA treatment is causing the cells to differentiate from small round cells containing a lot of green signal into the larger elongated red cells located in the center of each channel. The red cells no longer contain the green stem cell markers. In the lower panels, neurofilament L is a marker for differentiated neurons, and the neurofilament L antibody is labeled green. No appearance of this marker in the differentiated state. Also note that the green signal is not present in the untreated pluripotent cells. Stem cell differentiation. Upon growth of the embryo, embryonic stem cells differentiate into primary.
State into multiple cases. For example, what if your meal that you just ate was purely carbohydrates, right? Let's say I wish to go, I would never recommend doing this, but going down a gallon of Kool-Aid or Coca-Cola or something like that, well then all you ingest is carbohydrate. But that's going to be functionally different than a meal that consists of nothing but steak, right? A steak contains lipids and protein. Arguably, the metabolism of lipid and protein purely is going to be different than a pure carbohydrate meal. So we're going to have to deal with those a little bit differently. But fasted state is for the most part constant. Okay, and we're going to hopefully elucidate a lot of difficult things in this video and make them a little bit simpler. Okay, so we're going to make several assumptions in this video. Number one, we're going to make the assumption that what's happening in our blood system is that our levels of blood glucose are starting to drop. And so we want to maintain our blood glucose within reasonable, healthy levels, and that is a narrow range that we want to maintain it within. But it's starting to drop a little bit. So we want the liver to counteract that negative feedback. We're going to explore how we do that here. We're also going to make the assumption that the primary pancreatic hormone present in the blood is glucagon. Recall from your physiology that glucagon is a peptide hormone that is released from the alpha cells of the pancreatic islets of Langerhans. Okay? And glucagon is going to signal to the liver that we need to run on gluconeogenesis and beta oxidation. Glucagon is going to signal to the liver that we need to run on beta oxidation and perform glycogenolysis in gluconeogenesis. Let's talk about how that is accomplished. Now, you'll note this picture that's on the left side of your screen. You'll notice that step 1 and 2 are only talking about proteins and amino acids. We will come back to that later. I feel that the best thing to talk about is we start with the fat metabolism. Okay? Now, what we have to keep in mind is that during the fed state of the liver is going to be happily running on glucose, and therefore it's going to be running glycolysis and the TCA cycle to some extent. Okay? But as blood glucose levels start to drop, there's going to be a decreased reliance on glucose because there's not as much of it, right? And so we're going to have to shift our reliance on energy towards amino acid oxidation and beta oxidation. Okay? And ultimately what we're going to find is those two methods of oxidation are going to ultimately be used to form glucose and ketone bodies. The acetyl-CoA that's generated through beta oxidation will ultimately be used to form ketone bodies, and the amino acid oxidation of non-essential amino acids will be used to form glucose. Let's explain how that is right now. Okay? The first thing we have to understand is that glucagon is the most prevalent pancreatic hormone right now. So this hormone that we see right here, labeled hormone, binding to its receptor, let's make the assumption that that's glucagon. And glucagon's receptor is a G-protein coupled receptor. So when glucagon binds to a G-protein coupled receptor, and assuming the alpha subunit of the G-protein is picked up at GTP through the action of guanosine nucleotide exchange factor, the alpha subunit that bound GTP will dissociate and activate adenylate cyclase, or sometimes referred to as adenylyl cyclase. Adenylyl cyclase catalyzes the irreversible conversion of adenosine triphosphate